most awkward. Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us in this Thrive in Business session. Today we've got Kelly Gardner, who is an awesome copywriter and is going to make us all feel better about writing content about ourselves for the web. I'm going to hand it over to you, Kelly, with gratitude.
Okay, thanks. So hi, I'm Kelly. Nice to see you all. Before I start sharing my screen and kind of like living in my presentation, I like to see all your faces, say hello. And if you want to just write a little bit about your business in the chat, just kind of like what you do, then that would be really helpful for me as we move along because things can be a little bit different if you have like you're selling a product versus selling a service or whatever it is. I might have an example that like makes more sense to you. So if you're comfortable, just like share in the chat a little bit more about your business and then we'll all know too. So that would be good. Like we were just joking about this, like how you're like writing your about page is not really about you, right? That's the name of the presentation. It's not about you, but also in your business, you have to talk about yourself all the time anyway. So good news, bad news. Hi, Janine. I know who you are. Good. Collaboration facilitator. Love that. Next is public relations. Very cool. Okay, so that's more of a B2B thing. Support nonprofits and entrepreneurs. I also want to acknowledge any weirdness if anyone here has any federal funding in your lives. I am sorry. It's a very, very weird time. We're just gonna move through it together as best as we can, right? Yeah. Um, okay, cool. That is good to know. You're all interesting people, and I like that. Bolo massage therapist. Okay. Oh, cool. Nice. Okay, I'm gonna be truthful. I thought I was like glanced at your name. I thought you said marketing. I thought it was Cardinal Marketing. So I'm like, you're a massage therapist. Wait a second. I got it. Okay. So now I'm going to hopefully share my screen. Here it is. We'll get started. So we're going to talk about our about pages today. Oh, for crying out loud. All right. We're going to talk about our about pages today because it's something that people ask me about a lot and they feel kind of awkward about it. And I'm going to try to help you out there. It's also something people don't have a really good idea for why they even have it or why they should bother. And that's kind of the first place we should start. We're talking about our about pages because it should be a something that helps your business and gets you more sales and signups. So before we start, it's kind of agreements for being together in this Zoom room today. If you have any questions, feel free to just come off mute and ask. I'm not going to see the Zoom. I know, Janine, you said you would like kind of monitor the Zoom, so you want to pop in and like ask any questions for people who feel more comfortable asking that way. That's me. I'm definitely more of a chat person than like a pop off mute person. So either or works. We should have time at the end for any questions too. So the second thing is to kind of be open to what writing a website page might look like and be open to the process. So sometimes I get kind of halfway through and people's eyes start to get wide. They're like, what, I don't get it. What is this? Because they're used to just like having a thought and writing it down. And that's your writing process. And copywriting is a little bit different. So just kind of be open to that, even though it might be a little bit different than what you're used to. Like we're going to think about things in a different way. I'm going to ask you to be gentle with yourself and have that writing mindset. Um, the purpose of this is to learn about your business and how we can make kind of incremental changes to make things better. Like if you can get more like email signups or whatever it is from your about page, that is great. We are not here to totally build your business from the ground up in one day and turn it from 0 to 6 figures or whatever it is. Like we're not doing that. We're just trying to learn a little bit about like how our business works, right? And then last, like take care of yourself. right? If you need to be off camera, on camera, whatever works. If you need to get a drink of water, if you're eating lunch, like that is fine. Okay. If you need to get up, um, right? I have a blanket in my lap. You can go get your blanket, whatever. I might have to pop a cough drop. It's that time of year. Um, just kind of you're chill, right? Take care of yourself. Do what you need to do. If you get bored and you leave, it won't hurt my feelings. That's fine. Okay. So this is me. I'm a website copywriter. I do just websites. I do it mostly for solo service providers. Um, and I usually do not like a gigantic overhaul from the ground up, but like more services that are more affordable and scaled down so people can get support for their website copy without like getting like all the bells and whistles. Um, because I want people like I have a business where I work part-time and go pick up my kids and like stay flexible, and I want other people to be able to have that kind of business too if they want to. Um, I have training in UX copywriting and conversion copywriting. Um, UX copywriting is kind of like thinking about how people encounter the words in the context of real life and in the context of the internet. Um, so sometimes you go to a website and it feels weird and uncomfortable. You don't know what to do. That's bad UX. Sometimes you go to a website and you're like, okay, I get this. This is where I was meant to be. Like I wanted a solution to this problem. Here it is. It's easy to figure out what to do next. Like think about ordering takeout, right? On like a Square website that makes sense and it's very easy and you get your confirmation text and you're like, yay. And then trying to order takeout on something that is you don't understand, it's weird, and you just don't go to that restaurant, right? That's kind of basically what UX is. Um, and conversion copywriting is thinking about how we use data to get users to convert. Um, and so it's really my job to try to get people to make the next best decision for themselves, if that's working with you or not working with you, like not in a manipulative way, but kind of like giving them the right information at the right time so they can make the best decision for themselves. And we're going to talk about these three things today and how to apply them to your website and your website copy. Um, so when I talk about website copywriting, let's to back up further, it's just the words on your website, right? So what we really need to know anytime we're doing any writing for our website, we need to know our customer. We're going to write for them, and we're going to make it clear who you are and what you do. And sometimes people are like, yeah, isn't that kind of obvious? Like my website should be make it clear who I am and what I do. But I mean, if you go to like 10 websites for service providers, if you look up like marketing consultants, there's a lot of vague language. And there's a lot of like in my brain, I know what I do, but it's not coming out onto the paper. It's not coming out onto the screen, right? So it's a lot harder than it seems at first to make it really clear who you are and what you do. So we're going to try to get out of our heads a little bit and make it a little bit easier. Okay. Um, so there are lots of things to freak out about, but we don't need to freak out about this. Okay. This is fine. Your about page is not going to like make or break you or your life. If you make a mistake, it's not going to break the internet or your business. Okay. It's fine. It's just writing and you can always change it later. Okay. So why do we even have about pages? That is where we need to start. A lot of people, like most of us, probably just like threw one up. You're like, okay, I need to have a website. People say I need a website. I'm going to make a website, and I need an about page because everyone has an about page. So why do we even have it? We need to think about why we even have our website first, right? So should I'm seeing there's chat. Should I check the chat, Janine, or are we good to go? We're chatting. Okay. Um, oh, don't do that. Canva, get over yourself. Um, so before we think about what we want our about page to do, we need to think about what we want our website to do. And some of us like don't really think about this. They think, okay, I would like more sales in my life. I need a website. Yes, we all want more sales, right? This is what we want. We want more and better clients. But what is the function of the website in that kind of like sales and marketing landscape? Right. So there could be like one overarching goal for your site, like, okay, I want to sell on my website. right? Maybe you have something that's maybe people really know you really well and they're ready to buy when they come to your website. So you might want to have more sales on your website. Or if you have a lower ticket item that people are more willing to buy online, then you could be like, okay, I'm focused on sales. Or maybe you do sales more face to face or for on discovery calls, or you have a higher ticket item, people need to talk to you first. You think, okay, I want more leads or better quality leads. That's going to be the goal for my website. That's what I'm pushing people toward. Or it could be, I have all the work I need. I need people to leave me alone, right? And that's like drives like you leads away. This happens sometimes to some people, right? um, I'm thinking like high scale wedding photographers who are getting like all these inquiries, right? Like, will you do my wedding? Will you do my wedding? Like, no, I'm booked out for 3 years. Leave me alone. That kind of thing. So first you need a goal for your site. If you have something in mind, like I recommend like writing that down. It's like, okay, here's what I want my website to do. If you don't know right now, that's okay. And then keeping that in mind, we need to think about what we want each page to do. And this could be kind of like a weird mind shift for people. This is a conversion copywriting thing. Like you can't ask people to do 17 things on a page because then you're not really asking them to do anything, right? So sometimes I go to someone's homepage and they're like, listen to my podcast and sign up for my email list and read my blog and look at this case study. And so what am I going to do? Like either leave or just whatever I feel like doing. So really we should be pushing people toward one thing. On your about page, you could be, it's not very common to be selling an item, but you could sell something on your about page. You could be pushing people toward booking a discovery call. You could be just teaching people more about you and what you do if you need more education. You could be adding people to your email list or trying to get people onto your social. Once again, it's a little weird right now. Like, do we want to get more people onto our social? That's a bigger question. I can answer that for you today. So it's helpful to think about one thing because we're going to have a call to action on our about page and we're going to ask people to do something. For mine, it's just to move people toward my services page, and that's a pretty common one, right? Let's be like, okay, now that you know more about me, here's more about the actual services that I provide. And oh, okay, this is stuff I I think I meant to change this. I forgot this morning. So when we're thinking about like what our goal is for our website, we need to think about where people are coming from, like physically on the internet and mentally, right? So using the like example of a photographer again, if a photographer has a great ranking on Google and it's a your portrait photographer in Portland, your first one, you're getting tons of traffic from the internet. People don't know who you are, but they are looking for photography right then, right? So they're more ready to buy, but they don't know who you are. So you have to kind of tell them who you are. That's the education you have to do. If you're a photographer and all of your traffic is coming from your Instagram, people have seen your work, they know who you are, and they are at this point they're wanting to learn more about working with you, then you're gonna have to give them different information. So how aware are they of you? How aware are they of your services, the kind of services you provide? Do you have to do a lot of education about what you provide, right? So I meant to take all this like marketing stuff around, like marketing stuff, stages of awareness. But you just need to think about like from my about page, most people have never hired a copywriter before, so I have to tell them a little bit about working with a copywriter, what's like, and what I actually do, right? We don't always know our traffic sources or where people are coming from, but it might help to ask people who are actually converting where they're coming from. Okay, doing okay so far? Wait, all right, if you have any questions, feeling okay? I know this feels like we're taking like a big step back before we step forward, but that's really the best way to do it because we don't want to start with a blank page and start spitballing. We want to
Maybe
start with like a deep strategy and work from there, right?
Okay.
maybe a question.
Kelly, I had a question.
Yeah,
And feel free to say like we'll defer to end on this one, but
right.
just while we're at it, my business, I'm a public relations and marketing consultant.
Hmm.
The majority of my clients, actually all of them right now, are nonprofits. I got my
Hmm.
start in the nonprofit space. I'm trying to develop my about so that the business community is also finds value in what I do. So like if they
Hmm.
look and see like what previous clients have said, they're all nonprofits. Well, that's not me. I'm next, right? Like how
Right.
can she be of value to me? So I'm just wondering how someone who like kind of operates in different fields of expertise can show an about that doesn't make people just go like TV test pattern, boop, you know what I mean?
Right. That's interesting because like if you had two really different services, um, I would almost always recommend having two websites. Be like, here's what I do, this is what I do. But if you're just
Okay.
trying to kind of change a little path of what you're doing, you need to think about what those people have in common
Mhm.
and the results you get and how that can relate to different kinds of clients, right?
Okay.
So really think about the results is going to help you there. Like think about even a testimonial if it's from a nonprofit, um, speaking to what they find valuable in your work is also what someone else is going to find valuable in your
Mhm.
work. So it's looking at your testimonials and someone saying, she really got my message to different places I wouldn't be able to on my own. Is that universal?
Mhm.
Probably.
Yeah.
Um, so
Okay.
kind of using those and like using that kind of language in headlines. Um, and then also being able to talk, if it's like PR, you could talk about like placements in or whatever
Mhm.
it is. We'll talk a little bit more about that kind of
Okay.
proof stuff later.
Mhm.
That might make more
Thank you.
sense. Yeah. But I think there's another question.
Yeah, I was curious about so I'm just getting started. I'm selling
Hmm.
physical product, right?
Hmm.
And I've been working through how much am I saying the sort of same core things on every page so
Yeah.
that people get like Gaddy's, the brand for gay dads. Got it. So just,
Mhm.
and maybe this comes up later, but how you think about diversifying the message versus leaving them with here's the one thing you're taking away from each page that's the same as you are starting either the business or the brand.
Um, that's a little bit tricky without getting kind of into the nitty gritty, but there can be very similar messages on like your homepage and your about page. And they're going to have pretty similar functions a lot of the time. Um, so on your homepage, you'll probably be thinking about validating people like, yeah, I heard about this and this is what I wanted, right? This is the thing I was looking for. Um, and I remember why this is cool and just kind of like reinforcing that and then getting people into the right place. Like if they're ready to buy, put them into the right place and they need to know more about the company, like send them to the about page. And the about page could have more information, like more in-depth information about the brand story. Um, we're going to talk about elements that should be on the page too. Um, so I think that it doesn't hurt to repeat some of the messages at all, right? People aren't like picking that apart when they're going through. They just want to feel good about buying from you. They want to feel really excited about buying from you. You want to kind of engender that, yeah, keep them excited because they're already on your website. That's great, right? It's why I keep them excited so they want to feel that when they buy. Okay, keep trucking along here. And also in our about page, an important thing we all know about is that low, know, like, and trust factor. People do business with people they know, like, and trust, or that they feel like they know, like, and trust. Um, and this is a great opportunity to create that on your website. So the first thing we talked about is knowing your client deeply. Um, And of course, hopefully you're talking to your clients a lot. You're talking to prospective clients a lot. Maybe you're doing like market research calls if you're kind of new into your area. Um, and so hopefully you have some testimonials as well. And really, from a copywriting perspective, testimonials are like your deepest well of information that you should be pulling from all the time. Because I was talking about Bridget, um, that's your customers are telling you what's important to them, and they're telling you why they're spending money with you, right? So a lot of people will say like, "Oh, this feels good to get a testimonial, and I'm going to put it on my website somewhere," and then that's good. But that's really where your messaging should come from. Like your core messaging should come from your customers, your happy customers who are pleased, because you want to get more people like that. And that's the language that they are using. So that's the language that will resonate with them. So my recommendation is to take all of your customer feedback, like all of your testimonials, any, like, if you have any surveys on your site, you could do surveys or whatever it is. You have different ways of getting feedback from your customers and putting it all into a single document. And here, please don't look at my tabs. This is something, no, you can look at my tabs. You can be nosy if you want. This is something I did for like, I'm subcontracting for like a marketing firm, and then I'm writing something about RV parks. And so I'm looking at all the testimonials for this RV park. It seems like a very nice RV park in Salem, if you have an RV. And then I'm noticing what's important to people, right? They're noticing all the feedback is about these certain things, like it's convenient, the facilities are well maintained, they have a friendly staff, they have Taco Tuesday, things that have amenities, and the other campers are chill. And that's all what's important to them. That's the feedback that they're getting. And I don't really know that until I look at the data and pull it all out. So you can just like put all of your testimonials into one place and kind of pull out the themes. If you're into ChatGPT can do that for you. I'm iffy on the world of AI at the moment. Or you just make like a sheet like this and say, okay, what's really important to my customer? What words are they using as well, right? So me saying, hi, up as a RV park saying, our staff is friendly, like who cares, right? Everyone could say that. That's not very specific, it's not very interesting. But it says like the husband and wife team that work here is super nice and welcoming. That is specific. They make us feel like family. That's emotional and specific. So looking at your testimonials can also spark some ideas for you, because specific language is going to be what connects with people, right? So I was just like kind of writing about this the other day. I was writing about pages, and there's a woman I know I like follow on Instagram. She's a coach, and she said, you know, what you want to do is have language that people are using with their best friend 2 drinks in when they're like complaining about their business. They're not saying like, oh gosh, I really wish I could utilize my highest potential for blah, blah, blah. Right. Like they're not saying that. They're saying like, oh, I really wish I had someone could help me with this so I can X, Y, right? Thinking about what people are actually saying is going to help you with your messaging. That makes sense. Okay. Sometimes people get a little confused at this point. We good? We're happy. We have testimonials.
Um, Hi, Kelly.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
me. Did I hear that we want to pull out specific, interesting, and emotional like language? Does
Yeah.
that feel accurate? Okay.
Yes. So I will often just like have a spreadsheet like that, and I'll like separate things out into separate like messages. Like here's thing A, thing B, thing C, and then highlight the language I really like.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
it's not stealing to use it on your website. If someone says like whatever it is that's fun or exciting, like language that kind of ignites you, you can like use those words together, right?
Totally. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of stealing, if you don't have testimonials, you can look at someone else's website, a competitor's website, and say, okay, look at their testimonials and say what's important to their customers. You're not going to use those words on your website, right? You can say, do some research. That's fine. That's allowed. Okay, so now that we know our client deeply, we're going to write for them. So here we know that we're not writing about ourselves. It's not like about me is not like, hey, I'm Kelly, I'm the best. It's really more about like thinking about what my client needs to know about me before they work with me. And I'm going to speak directly to them. Okay. And we don't do that by like creating a beautiful customer avatar. Oh, I lost my GIF. So we're not doing that through someone's unmuted. Okay. Sorry, I got really distracted by my GIF too.
She said, I didn't know you were having Flanders. Crazy up there, huh? Oh, sorry though.
Oh, it's good. I was like very easily distracted. Okay. Our customer, we're going to write directly to them, giving them the messages they want at the right time, giving them the information they want at the right time, and using that language that resonates with them. Right. Not, you don't have to, people have a tendency to want to be professional on their website, and that is good. Professional is delivering good work on time, right? A professional is communicating with people and delivering what you say you're going to deliver. Professional is not like looking a certain way. Professional is not talking a certain way, right? That's like having integrity is professional, right? So you could have personality and you could be sassy on your website, as long as you're serving your customer while you're doing it. Okay. So we're thinking about what our client wants. And we're thinking about the goal for our page. And then we're going to make our website copy meet in the middle, right? So this is where it gets a little bit figurative, right? So if you want to get people to sign up for your email, that's your goal for your page, and your client wants better PR or whatever it is, what can you give them? What do they want? What can you give them before they'll like exchange their email for like information? What can you get them to exchange that email for information? And so you're gonna be establishing that you're knowable, likable, and trustable on the page, and you're also going to give them something that they can sink their teeth into, so to speak, right? When you're offering them the next thing, your call to action. So you're using their language and you're talking to them, right? And you're going to make it clear who you are and what you do. And here are kind of the ways we do it, the things we use on our About page in order to tell people who we are, and to get them to take action next. So I really recommend for people to just like gather up all these things and put them in a document, and to make them bad, right? Don't think about writing, okay? Like make a crappy first draft. So not even your first draft yet. It's just information. It's just like tidbits, right? So you have a bio somewhere. People get so hung up on writing a bio. Like, don't worry about it. You have one somewhere, copy and paste it. Okay, make it better later. It's just we're gathering information here. We're gathering materials, like we're birds, we're gonna build a nest. Like, we just need feathers, okay? Like a summary of like probably your business, your USP, that kind of thing, right? This is what I do, summarized quickly. Your brand story, if it's something that's relevant to your customers, that's the important part. Sometimes about pages get a bad rap because people are like, here's about me, blah, blah, blah. It's a boring story. And it's only boring because it's not relevant to the customer. Right? So there are things that your customer does want to know about you. Your differentiators, which would be, what makes you different from the competition, right? Or not say competition, or other solutions, or it's also your competition. So if I'm a website copywriter, what makes working with me different than taking a course, right? And then I don't know why I have proof over here all tiny, because proof is really important. And proof would be like anything that kind of back up what you say. So that's testimonials. That's a big one, right? That's someone else speaking on your behalf, bragging about you and in ways that you can't brag about yourself. This also means proof bar and logos, right? Like you see those proof bars, like as seen in, has worked with, right? That's proof. Case studies, like a link to a case study, demonstration videos, depending on what your business is. Photography can sometimes be proof, if it's like this person is featured here, right? Depending on your business. Credentials, qualifications, that should all go on your about page. And also just using the same language that your customer uses, right? Like I have a client right now who works with like nonprofit boards, and I know that they use very specialized language. And so if they like using jargon that I use is probably not very good. Like if I say differentiators, you might be like, what the hell are you talking about, Kelly? Sorry about that. Call to CTA. Oh my gosh, I'm doing it. Oh no. But we're gonna talk through it. So using the language your customer uses shows them that like you're in with them, right? Especially if something like I audit like nonprofit boards, then they have a special kind of language they use. You want to show that you're kind of in on the in crowd. Like I was also working with a running coach, and she didn't have like any of the races that she's been in, and she felt kind of braggy, like, oh, I don't know if I should add that. And I was like, people want to know like what that you ran the Boston Marathon, right? They want to know this kind of stuff. So that is proof. So you don't have to write anything yet in particular, just like copy and paste this all into one place so you have it. Okay. So I think I've been talking for 30 minutes. We haven't really written anything yet. Okay. But we're going to, I promise. And then you need kind of to think about what messages you want on your page and the sections you want, right? And here's kind of one way to think about it. I like to talk about like your 5-paragraph essay in high school. You need to state your claim, you need to support it, and then you need to have a conclusion. Your conclusion here is going to be a call to action. It's going to be asking people to do something, right? You're going to close the sale at the bottom of every page, right? And the sale can be like moving to a different page, right? But you're asking people to do something. You want to make it a little bit more enticing for them to do it. So here is a typical outline of like the arguments in a typical about page. I wouldn't be mad if you just like went to someone about page that you liked and used the sections that they use and use the same like kind of layout they use. That's fine. Just don't overthink this too much. Just realize that people kind of want the higher level messages first and then details as they go further down the page. Some people are it's like skimming your headlines. Some people are reading every word. They're just different kinds of people. Some of them might be ready to buy, some of them might not be, right? Some people are more spontaneous decision makers, some people more methodical decision makers. Some people are more emotional decision makers, which is, for better or worse, that's me on the internet. If I'm in a good mood and I'm seeing something, I'm buying it, right? I should know better, but that's how it is. Okay, so kind of like a higher level message would be like, what do you do? Like clearly state what you do. How do you help people like me? Like, okay, here's what that looks like. This is what I do. This is how I do it. And then I want some proof. Okay, so what does it look like if it does work? Why should I work with you and not someone else? Is your bio? Okay, I'm interested. Give me some more information, kind of woo me, kind of sell the call to action, and then give them the call to action. So this is kind of a basic layout. You don't have to like have everything in here. But it's kind of works for a reason. So I don't want to get too bogged down in that because you can like Google a million like page templates for about pages. You're going to get about the same thing. And then now that you have some information and you know like where you want to put your messages and what kind of messages, you're going to have to write the dang things. We have to think about writing, right? And there are a lot of emotions and like things wrapped up in that. People get a little weird about the whole writing thing. When I was in college, I worked at the writing center, and like the best, pretty much the only advice I ever gave people, because it's all they ever needed, was just do it. You just have to sit down and do it, right? And then it gets done, right? If you don't do it, if you don't sit down and do it, it doesn't get done. That's the whole thing with writing. So we're going to make it easy, right? You're going to use your planning document as a scaffold, right? So you're going to have like, okay, I want to say something about my business, and I want to say something about how that affects my customer. Then I want to have my bio, and then I want to talk about working with me a little bit more detail. Then I'm going to have like something that says why they should work with me and go to my service page, whatever it is, right? So we have that scaffold, and then you're going to write a bad first draft. And you're going to copy and paste stuff in, like, okay, here's my bio, copy and paste. Okay. And you're going to come back in a day or two and make it a little bit better, and you could do that 3 or 4 times. Okay. So a lot of people think I have to sit down and write and make it beautiful the first time. And if that's how your brain works, that is beautiful, and I love that for you. It's not how my brain works. My brain wants to have some space in between. I want to work on it a little bit, but then I need some space and come back to it. And a nice thing about brains is that they'll work on things subconsciously. And so it's one of those things like you get a bad email and you don't know how to respond to it. You just leave it for 6 hours and then maybe a solution becomes clear. Right? Sometimes it happens. And that happens with writing as well. You're like, oh, I know what I need to add here. Sometimes just sitting and staring at it is not the best thing, right? Okay. What I like to do is just it's really hard to start writing something. Set a timer for 20 minutes and make myself do it for 20 minutes, right? Or even if you had like, oh, I'm going to set a timer for 5 minutes and write one section of this, and then like stand up and stretch and do another one for 5 minutes, you'll get a lot done. And then there's going to be editing, right? You're going to write it and then you're going to edit it. Those are 2 separate things. So in conversion copywriting, we have this whole like 7 sweep thing we talk about, but it really comes down to what you want your website to be is clear. The most important thing it can be is clear. So a lot of people sacrifice clear for clever or different, and really just want people like to know what you do and to be able to buy from you. That's the most important thing. So make sure everything is clear. And then think about your voice and tone. If you have like a bubbly brand, you want your like tone to be bubbly, right? If you have like a more subdued, you want it to be more subdued, whatever it is, you want it to match your business. You want, so what means, does this matter to my customer? Everything I have on there should matter to your customer. Prove it means everything needs to be backed up by proof, right? Not literally, not like every word has to be backed up by proof, but you know, if you're saying, hey, I get these kinds of results, like show the results, right? And you want everything to be specific because people are going to connect with that language more, and they're going to be able to visualize what their lives are like with you in it much more easily if there's very specific language. And then when you're done with all this, go back and make sure everything's clear again. Like clarity is always first and last. Like make sure everything is super clear. And because this question always comes up, what about SEO? So yeah, seeing some not, yeah, SEO, that seems important. Not everyone needs SEO. It depends on your business, on how you get your customers, etc. We could talk about that more in detail if you're interested. But the most important thing you should know about SEO is to write for your best fit client and to worry about Google later, right? To edit for Google. So if you know like, oh, I need to hit these keywords, you can add keywords later. Okay. You can add keywords later. If you have 1,000 people come to your website and none of them see themselves there, none of them are interested, like why did you put all that effort into SEO, right? If you have 100 people come to your website through referrals and 10 of them sign up because you were writing for your best fit client and writing to try to talk to them about their needs and their concerns, like that's better. Right? So a lot of people put a lot of worry into SEO without really knowing what it is. And if you don't know, actually, I should back up and say SEO is search engine optimization, is showing up on Google, right? So and we could talk about, I just did HubSpot SEO certification, so I know like 10% more than I used to. But it's a lot. So just always keep this in mind. Like if you feel bogged down, just remember to know your customer, right for them, make it clear who you are and what you do, and you will be doing great. Okay, we have questions. So I think we have, yeah, plenty of time for questions or recovery or whatever. Janine.
Oh, yeah, there's a question in the chat asking if you have like great examples that we should go look at.
Oh no, I should. I should. I do not, but you know what I'm gonna do? So I just wrote a blog post about this, and I'm going to do some research into it. I'll add it to the blog post, and
Okay.
then, yeah, send people
I was
there.
thinking we would maybe start at your website, maybe.
No, what they say about the cobbler's children having no shoes.
Got it.
I mean, I have an about page, and it's okay, but it's tough. It's tough to write about yourself, even when you're a writer. Yeah.
So Kim, I see your request for a link to the blog. I'll put that in the chat in a minute. I'll go find it.
I'll add examples.
Can I ask a
Yeah.
question?
Yeah.
So I'm kind of running into a dilemma, and I don't know how much insight you might have into this, where I'm a massage therapist and people have gender preferences for sometimes what kind of massage therapist they want. And I am trans, and it is very conflicting. I don't want people to think I'm a woman and then show up and I look like a guy, but I also don't want to call attention to it and make it a whole freaking thing, especially since I only use they them pronouns now, and I just don't know how to include that in my about without making it really a big deal, or if I should even include it at all.
Well, a lot of this, I talk about this a little bit in the blog post too. It's like tiny bit, you know, people feel like just backing up for a little bit. People feel sometimes like they have to like say a lot. Like we have this kind of performative authenticity. I'm sorry, performative authenticity. Like, okay, here's everything about me. Like, here are my children, and here like their medical concerns. Like, people like talk about way too much about themselves on because they feel like they have to, and it's really up to you. Like, there's a range what people feel comfortable with, right? So it's really up to you. Like, there are coaches who are like, here's every aspect of my life that's ever happened to me. And there are people who are like, hey, I don't know if I want to have a picture of myself up there, right? So it's backing up, like there's just like this range what people are comfortable with sharing about themselves, because your business is not you, right? But you are the person showing up to their house, right? And so I think it would be appropriate to have, like, you want them to know your pronouns anyway, right? And right, you would have a picture of yourself on your website probably, because people want to, like, they want to know who you are before they like have this intimate connection with you. And it feels like a massage feels very intimate, right? So I feel like that seems like a giving them that information seems like giving them a fully informed, right, like consensual experience. Like, you definitely don't want to like surprise anyone. I don't. Yeah, if that's kind of hard with massage, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially since like I feel like some people would see that information and then decide I'm not for them, without giving me a chance. And
Right.
if they didn't know that information, they would get a massage from me and then be like, wow, that was amazing. and then I'll be like, by the way, so I don't know. I don't want to scare people away too. It's really kind of a sticky situation. It's okay if you don't really have
Yeah.
an answer here. I was just kind of throwing it out. Oh, Brandon.
Yeah.
I have one thought. There was a earlier on one of the slides, it mentioned something that I've tried to focus a lot on in my business.
Mm.
Who are the customers that you don't want? And frankly, if there's
Right.
somebody that's going to see that and not
Yeah.
want to go to you, then you actually are fine letting them go. I understand as a new business, it's hard to see that, but I think that it sounds like that group might not be a primary focus or
Yeah.
need to be a primary focus.
Thank you, Brandon. Yeah. We want to attract people who are attracted to us in business, right? I want to work with people who like my deal, and that's part of my about page too, right? You can have something in there. A lot of people will have, uh, information about like their brand values and things like this. And if you don't like my brand values, I want you to leave, right? And but that can be very hard to say no to business when you're just starting out and getting a foothold. I understand that.
I mean, I also just sort of want to piggyback on like Brandon's suggestion too. And like for me, I usually look for a massage therapist that is either queer, trans, like falls into that umbrella. So knowing that for me would be exactly what I was looking for. Like if it's not going to be someone that is a cis woman like myself, I at minimum want them to be a queer person. So I think leaning into that would be sort of the way to actually let folks know, like, I understand creating comfort for someone's body, especially when you're looking for, for someone that falls, I guess, into the gender pool, I would say, like someone that understands the spectrum and is going to feel comfortable. That's what shows me that person could make me comfortable.
Yeah. Thank you, Heidi. Bridget?
Yeah. Hi, Cardinal, and thanks for the great question. I was curious to know, just, based on the type of one-on-one work that you have with your clients, do you often have like, online consultations so that folks are just like not caught by surprise, as you put it, when you show up? I mean, if you're not even, leaving the comfort of your home office to say that this person is not who, they misunderstood, they didn't get the memo, they didn't understand, like that's not what the droid they're looking for, so to speak. Is that a possibility, or is that something that you routinely do? Like, I'm not really familiar with the world of massage therapy, but I figure if someone's coming to you for comfort and security and healing, they want to have a rapport with that person and get to know what it is that your modalities are, right, before they show up. Is that something you typically do, like online consults? Or
Yeah, I get a lot of referrals, and then if someone books online who I haven't worked with before, I call them and talk to them first for their safety as much as for mine.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
Okay.
and I think once people hear my voice, they kind of get the message too, because it's a really female-dominated field, and
Mhm.
I get like 50-50. People don't know what the hell I am, so I try and state it, but it's still, yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should.
I mean, especially just I cannot speak for you and your experience, no way, no how, but I just feel even me, if I was as a cis femme massage therapist, it's almost like, when, like online dating, it's like, let me do a FaceTime with you. Let me do a Zoom with you so we can talk a little bit about what your expectations are. And, if it's like chat roulette, like that old school thing people used to do, where you show up and it's like, oh, here I am. It's like, oh, I gotta go now. I left something in my car. And I've had that just reaction of people who think, when we were talking about professionalism before, I've had that when people like see the piercings, the tattoos, the crazy looking, large frames I wear, and they go, how can this person who claims to be from this, prestigious previous past life in corporate America and, not representing nonprofits, that the people that don't look like her, how can she write for me? How can she speak for me? How can she be a spokesperson for me? I've gotten that just even being in the, especially when I deal with a lot of, straight folks, as well. So it's very difficult. Can't we just all get our businesses going and do the best work we can do for the people we want to support? Jeez. And if not, the hell with them. Next caller. Good luck to you.
Do you have any other questions? Helpful. You can feel free to chime in for any questions. This is some more information about me. I have 2 names that are spelled weird, so if you try to find me on the internet, just add some extra vowels. It's kellygardner.com on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever. Feel free to email me. What in the world kind of? Oh yeah, what kind of link did I put in there? It's just my website link that has all my different links. And I just want to say thank you so much for spending your lunch hour with me, and I hope you really got something out of it. I also want to let you know that I do free 5-minute audits. So that is good for like use cases could be like before you write something or after you write something, for me to take a look at it and give you some ideas for free. That's something I do for anyone. And also, like, I always have 5 minutes for you for free, right? So if you're like, hey, I have a really like tricky question about this, or I don't know what to do about that, it's like send me an email or I put in a request for the audit, and I'd be happy to help you.
Thank you so much, Kelly. And thanks everybody for attending and participating in this rich conversation. I want to talk more about professionalism and like how it looks versus how it acts. That feels like a conversation that's here that we should dive into at a future date. Yeah, I believe our next Thrive session is Business Legal Fundamentals with Lindy Lawrence of Rational Unicorn. She does a really great hour on, so you have a business, let's, do entity formation and be safe and compliant. You can find that where you found this one. And I look forward to seeing you all around. Thank you so much for joining us, Kelly. I'll make the recording available for your digital scrapbook very soon.
Very cool. Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Bye.